Welcome back, everyone. We're back. Long-awaited Fake Nerds Watch for Star Trek Picard. This is for episode 4 and 5. I have them. Watcher, episode 4, and episode 5, Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Look who's prepared today. I'm Brandon T. McClure. With me is Cookie from Just a Little Podcast. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. I'm jazzed to finally be back talking about Star Trek Picard.
Yes, sir. You and me both.
We did skip last week. It was actually I skipped all my shows last week. So if you've been following the Fake Nerd podcast, we didn't do an episode that week either. So,
but you guys have some big things coming up in the near future, which is nice. So
we do. There's actually some pretty big announcements you want to see on this week's episode. I'll just say them here. One of our podcasts on our network won an award. That's pretty cool.
So
saying.
Awesome.
And then we're doing an award show for just kind of the things that we talked about on our show this week.
Great stuff.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Star Trek Picard. So let's get off with Star Trek Picard, Season 2, Episode 4, Watcher.
Yes.
What'd you think of Episode 4?
Loved it. We've talked about it the last time you and I sat together, and we kind of talked about it more in regards to a totally different series, but Picard has really been a shining beacon of hope for Star Trek as a whole, especially in Paramount. And I say that because it's live action. If it was animation, I think it wouldn't hit as much because not a lot of people tend to gravitate towards animation versus live action.
Sure.
So I think that this is the beacon of hope for Paramount Plus, and the writing is exceptional. The directing is exceptional. This episode was directed by a Back to the Future cast.
It was Leia Thompson.
It was perfect. It was perfect. So good.
Yeah. I really liked this episode. There was a lot of things. Here's the thing. So first off, I did not like the Book of Boba Fett. I did not think it was a good show. I'm sorry. I know you did. You did. No shame. I'm of the opinion, like what you like, you got to own that shit. Because
For sure.
you don't want people bringing you down for the things you like. Personally, I did not care for it. One of the big reasons was because I don't think it's right that what we're doing with Luke Skywalker. I think what we're doing with him is a travesty. So, when a certain character walks on screen, being recast, I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, thank you. We're not doing this weird robot thing anymore. We've recast a character.
Yes.
And it works. So the character I'm talking about is, of course, if you've seen the episode, it's Guinan.
Yes. I loved it. And I loved how they used the continuity in a special way by saying she appeals to her audience at that given moment. So if it's an older crowd that she needs to appeal to, she takes that form of whatever form she needs, and it worked.
Yeah, I think it works because we've seen Guinan about this age because she doesn't age the same way that humans do. Remember, there's the episode, and we're gonna bring up this episode later. But Time's Arrow, it's a famous two-parter of Star Trek where they meet Mark Twain. But we've seen her, right? We've seen her in the past where it's still Whoopi Goldberg because at the time Whoopi Goldberg was able to play that character both young and old.
Mm-hmm.
She's no longer capable of doing that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you recast that character, you recast that actress, and it doesn't take anything away from Whoopi. It's just the story needs Guinan, and so what do? We recast that role, and it's the same thing. I'm sorry, but real quickly, if you're going to require Luke Skywalker so much, recast. I'm done.
I'm staying silent.
I already bitched about it enough on our Book of Boba Fett Fake Nerds Watch episode. I don't need to do it here. I want to be honest with you, Cookie. I was really rooting for Book of Boba Fett for those first 4 episodes. I was really into it. I was like, hell yeah, this show's great. I'm into it, and then it really took a nosedive for me.
See, okay, for me, I went into it open-minded, and I enjoyed it for what it was. One of the things that, since I love Star Wars, is a big thing for me. I know it might sound mean, especially on this type of show, but Star Trek is a little bit lower than Star Wars. It's a lot lower than Star Wars for me, just because that's my bread and butter type of thing.
Yeah. No, I get it.
When it comes to all the shows that I've watched for Star Wars, there is a show called Resistance, which is an animated series. And the reason why they created it was literally to go and they said, hey, this is a filler until we get more Star Wars in place. So we're going to put out 2 seasons. That means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just something that happens in a distant world, and it works. And I feel like Boba Fett was that. Appealing to a nostalgic audience, a newer audience, bringing in a person that we all now love, which is Mandalorian, which is Din Djarin. We're also getting Baby Yoda. We're appealing to the old generation who loves Boba Fett. We're appealing to the old generation who loves Luke Skywalker. We're getting all the story tie-in, and all this is just a filler series. Just a filler. That's all it is.
We don't need to go into it. Have you been watching Halo, by the way?
I am. That is one of my Patreon exclusive shows that I do. I recap, review, and rate the latest episode. So after this show, by the time this airs, I already had that one dropped, but I actually have to go and record all that stuff later on after
Very
this.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Am I sitting with Mike? What's going on here?
I'm sorry. I really love the Halo franchise, and I honestly don't know what's not working for me in the show, because I'm watching them like it looks like Halo.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, it's just not working.
It's an alternate timeline, number one, and then number two, which Mike pointed out to me, and I tried not to look at it with this lens.
Yeah.
But it is Sci-Fi Channel tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, I get that. You know what? I will say, a lot of practical effects, and I appreciate the hell out of that.
I love that. Love that.
Anyway,
when they do CGI, I don't really care so much for, but it's the sci-fi reaching for something with a budget that they might not have.
Yeah, I was tweeting about it earlier today because I watched episode 2 today. We'll get to Chateau Picard, guys. Don't worry. And like I
haven't seen episode 2 yet, so no spoilers.
No spoilers. And I was watching it, and I was just like, there's just something that's not clicking. It's like when you look at a gear, and it's like not quite where it needs to be. It's missing that one click to get it to where it needs to be. And I don't know what it is. I'm not a writer. I am a writer. I'm not that kind of writer.
I was gonna say, and you're an editor, so I don't know what you have no excuse there.
I'm not that kind of writer. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll explore that later. Doesn't matter. We're here to talk about Star Trek Picard. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since Cookie and I have sat down. The last time you saw us was the last time we saw each other.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a while.
So anyway, let's talk about Star Trek Picard. So they've crashed. They're on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me look at my notes because it's been a while since I've seen this episode. Okay, so this is the episode where they go into the abandoned chateau.
Yes.
Rafi and Seven are looking for Rios, who's been taken.
Correct.
Jurati and Picard have no heat in the La Sirena, so they go to the chateau. Interesting little bit of canon that they've established is that the Chateau Picard was abandoned for hundreds of years.
Yes, and it was in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
During the Nazi invasion, and it was his family sought refuge underneath the tunnels of the chateau, which I thought was really cool, and they headed down to England.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. I like that.
It's a fun. I don't think it was ever necessary to explain why an Englishman had a French name. I never thought. That never bugged me. But it is kind of a fun little like, oh, this is, if you cared, this is why.
Yeah, it's like trivia.
Yeah, it's like trivia. Like, oh, why does Picard actually have an English accent? Oh, it's because his family lived in England for generations.
Yeah.
Chateau Picard, apparently, I don't know if this is true, but a lot of people online are talking about how there is a wing of Chateau Picard that is not in the future that we're seeing in the past. And that's the wing that burned down, that killed Robert and Renee. His brother, yeah. I thought that was kind of cool.
That is very cool. That is extremely cool.
Yeah.
That literally makes my wheels start turning, and that's so cool.
That's the kind of, if that's true and not quite an accident, because look, there is an extra wing on that chateau in the past. Like, if that is in fact the idea that what they went for, that's the kind of attention to detail that has really been appreciated in this season of Picard. That kind of thing that, like, it's background noise, but it's something that helps me as a fan fall in love and fall more immersed into the show.
Correct. I agree. I definitely agree. And I think that this showcases the writers, the directors, the producers that it seems like majority of them, if not all of them, are Star Trek fans, and they enjoy being involved in this world and bringing this world into a new light, but into a light that appeases to all generations. And I love it.
You brought it up, how it really feels like Picard has become like this golden child for Star Trek, and it is true that I don't think I've been as enamored with a live action Star Trek show since the last golden age of Star Trek that ended with Enterprise. Right? Like, Discovery is good. Sometimes it's good. Most of the time it's fine. And I love Lower Decks, but there was no live action Star Trek show that I've fallen in love with, and I'm so scared at how much I am falling in love with Star Trek Picard season 2.
I'm so happy. It makes me happy because I told you, season 1, I enjoyed it. I was so happy, and I think maybe it's because I'm a big fan of Sir Patrick Stewart. And even with this, we talked about it when we first had the first episode. I'm a big fan of Marc Bernardin, which is comic book writer and a director now as well. And he's also done a lot of writing with other shows, but including with Star Trek. Podcaster. So it's like, seeing the fact that his name is on there, it brought me a lot of hope. And that hope is actually coming to fruition with this episode and episode 5, which we'll talk about at a later date. But the fact that we're seeing stuff happen the way we want them to happen, you can't help but smile, and you can't help but get goosebumps, which happened for me in this episode, happened for me in the next episode as well.
Yeah. So let's go through some of my notes that I have here. Agnes continues to be the MVP of the show.
Yes. Yes. As of episode 4, yes.
We can't talk about episode 5 yet. That's important. But episode 4, her when she's in the chateau with Picard and they're kind of having this moment together, and she's talking about it. Oh, it's so weird for me to think of you as a child. And he discovers that, like, she's picking all these numbers, 15. What does that mean? All good stuff.
Yeah.
All good stuff. I was really into that. But do you want to talk about the coolest cameo in the whole world?
Go for it.
The punk rock bus person.
Okay, so that I didn't know who it was. Maybe you can enlighten me on it, but I was just like, was it needed? Was it not needed? I thought it
it was. Yes, it was needed, sir, and I'll tell you why. Because if you are you've already said that Star Wars is your bread and butter. Star Trek is mine. Okay. Do you recall the movie Star Trek for The Voyage Home?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the guy on the bus with the boombox so loud that Spock pinches him and he passes out?
No.
That's the same guy.
You're kidding me.
No.
What year was that, though?
That was 1984.
No. I mean, during the movie, like, what year were they in on that bus?
1984. They went back to the same year the movie was based in.
But then...
he'd still be alive. He's not that old.
I guess, yeah.
He's not, he was like a kid, right? He's not like a kid, but he was like maybe early 20s.
2025 now.
2024, please.
2024, sorry.
Yeah, he's not that. He's still, it was the same actor, so he's still alive, obviously.
Yes, you're right. Technically, yes, you are right.
It's so
in
fun
real
fact.
Life, he's alive.
So fun fact. That is 2 years isn't going to kill him. Anyway, that's the same actor. It's the same. So he was able to get a lot of the people who wrote that original song, I Hate You, which is the song that's playing on the boombox. And they wrote a song called I Still Hate You, which is the song he's playing on the bus in Star Trek Picard.
That is funny.
And it's fun because this season of Star Trek Picard, I rewatched Star Trek for The Voyage Home after I watched that episode. Okay. This season of Star Trek Picard is very similar structurally to that movie. That movie doesn't have alternate realities, but like it is very much a similar kind of. They go back in time, they struggle to find their bearings, they have to figure out the mystery of how to very similar, and I think that's pretty interesting.
Well, that movie worked back then, and I thought it was a fantastic movie in my opinion.
Yeah, I lived next to that aquarium.
Do you really?
I did, yeah, when I was a kid.
Okay, that's cool. So it's like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Whereas, sorry to say, Discovery, it's broken, guys. Fix it. We need it fixed. But that is a really cool concept, and I like that a lot. I think that, like you said, it's definitely a really nice nod to people who have that memory of Star Wars, memory of Star Trek. But for me, since I didn't remember that at all, I took it as 7 and 9 has this way that she evokes a presence like, hey, when I mean shut up, I mean shut up and you do what I say.
Sure. It is very much a moment for hardcore fans, because he does the thing where he like holds his neck remembering that Spock killed him. He didn't kill him, but like Spock like knocked him out.
Yeah.
We'll get into the time travel mechanics about that in a bit.
Sounds good.
But yes, what the hell does this say? I love the music. I can't read my own handwriting. I really like the music in this season, by the way, since that's on there. It's good music, good callbacks to the original themes. But yeah, so going back to like the punk rock dude, it's really cool to kind of bring in those kind of nods, because you didn't have to.
Okay, yeah.
But you're like, yeah, why Seven not? And Rafi are on a bus. Who's on a bus?
Yeah, like why not do it? It makes sense.
Maybe he's going to a punk rock convention and he just decided to be like, I'm going to relive my glory days for a minute.
That was good. It was good.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. I liked that quite a bit. And it's very funny to me that you didn't notice that.
Yeah, it just... Once you brought it out to me, I was like, oh, you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah, apparently he's a TV director as well.
That's cool.
He's not an actor anymore. So let's go through some more of my notes here. Let's go. We talked about Guinan. Let's talk about Guinan.
Okay.
Because I both love and hate the Guinan moment. Mm-hmm. I'm really happy that we have established that Guinan is still in the past in 2024, but she's leaving, because where we saw her in Time Zero in 1893, time kind of got worse for people like her.
Yes.
So like, as time went on, to see her kind of be beaten down is difficult for her to stay there. And I liked that, but I didn't like that it was the same bar.
Okay, so I think that was like her way of showing her resilience to society and resilience to the hate of people on Earth. And it kind of showed like she literally has done everything and anything she possibly could to help humanity out.
Well, so what I'm talking about specifically, because in the future, in 2401, she has a bar called 10 Forward.
Yes.
In 2024, she has a bar named 10 Forward.
Correct.
Like in 2401, the idea of it being 10 Forward is a nice nod to her having served on 10 Forward on the Enterprise.
Correct.
But in 2024, that just feels like, wait, so she named the bar on the Enterprise 10 Forward based on her bar from the early 21st century?
Yeah, because like I was saying, it for me, it shows her resilience to humanity, and that she's done all she can do. And where it was as far as 10 Forward in this timeline and where it is on Enterprise is two different spectrums of the hard work that she's put in and the resilience she's put in to see humanity become what it is today or what it is in the future.
Like, that's very poetic.
But no.
Change the street name. Like, in 2024, does it need to be called Forward Avenue? Like, you can have it like in the future, it gets renamed to Forward Avenue, and then that's where like she It's like, oh, that's what I want it to be called because now I own this bar. And then, but having it still be 10 Forward, it kind of takes away the tribute of the bar in 2401 for me. It's not a universe breaking thing. It's just kind of like I wish you had done that a little differently.
Do you think that she is 10 Forward and 10 Forward is her?
No, because the ship, the bar on the ship is on the 10th deck in the forward section.
Correct.
So 10 Forward.
Yes.
It was just a coincidence.
I think that it's like maybe it's the poetic version, like you said, of me. Maybe that it's just a symbolic design to say that 10 Forward is Guinan and Guinan is 10 Forward. If you take Guinan out of 10 Forward, it's not going to be the same 10 Forward.
Change the street name. That's all I have to say about that. It's nothing that I'm like, it doesn't take away anything from me.
For sure.
It is just something like, if I am being critical, that is something that I rubbed up against.
Mm-hmm. I did have a question for you.
Shoot.
I don't know if you know this. Is the Pitbull the same Pitbull that Picard had? As far as like, is the actor Pitbull the same one that he had in season 1?
I don't know.
Because it was just funny the relationship that he had with the Pitbull, and it loved him, and he's like, oh well, I show no form of harm to you.
Yeah, it could be the same Pitbull. That'd be a cute little nod, but I don't know for sure.
Gotcha.
Excuse me, did you ever watch The Practical Jokers?
Yes, I love that show.
Did you recognize the guy who picked up the Pitbull?
No.
He's Q? Quentin? What's his name in The Practical Jokers?
Oh, now you're gonna kill me. Oh man, wow.
All right, what's his name? My friend likes him because he watches in practice. I've only seen a few like skits.
I like it a lot too. I watched quite a bit with my mom. Now you got me curious.
Let me see. Brian Quinn.
Brian Quinn, yes.
Yeah, that's who that is.
He's actually good friends with Kevin Smith, and probably that may be a reason why he's on there, because he really likes
Star Trek. Maybe. But he really likes Star Trek, apparently. Yeah, I thought that's a cool little nod for anybody who likes Practical Jokers. Let's see. Yeah, so let's talk about Guinan. Guinan herself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of good to be done with bringing in Guinan, and I'm glad that it felt like a story necessary moment. Like, Guinan can take Picard to the Watcher, and so they need to kind of reconvene. However, there's been a lot of discourse about this online. And I kind of hesitate to bring this up because I found myself in the middle of it when I first watched the episode, and I did not appreciate that. There is some discourse about the fact that why doesn't she remember Picard having met her in 1893?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Did you even remember that they've known that they met?
I did. Trust me, and it was something that it came into my mind, and it just left as fast as it did.
Yeah,
and I think
it's probably the healthy response to that.
That Picard actually says to her, and this is what kind of saved it, was Picard said to her, "I need you to help me figure out what's wrong with this timeline."
I think that there's also a case to be made that when he says what his name is, she recognizes it.
Mm-hmm. But he said that it was okay, yes, because they immediately got into the vehicle after that.
My name is Jean-Luc Picard. Okay, let's talk. Like, there is something that can be taken from that. Now, the official stance from the showrunner and the production designers and everyone who works on the show, because I follow a lot of them and they're doing a great job. The official stance is the idea was that because the future was altered, so was the past.
Called it. See? I said it.
So the idea would be that because the future was altered, Picard never went back in time to 1893 and never met Guinan.
I don't know if you remember this. I said at the beginning of the episode, but the director is a Back to the Future star, and she knows that when you go on this timeline and you go back, you no longer can continue on this. You create an alternate timeline. Doc Brown explained it on the chalkboard very well.
Let's do this. Okay, so that's not the case for Star Trek. Not always the case when it comes to Star Trek. Every time travel in Star Trek, because there's many different ways you can travel through time within Star Trek. Each one of them comes with their own rules.
Okay.
Right? So when Nero went back in time due to the red matter, he destroyed the Kelvin and created a new timeline. That's the Doc Brown rule. That's
he ended that.
Right, he ended because it's the end game thing. You can't, if you go back in time, it's still your future. You cannot change your past because it's still going to be your future.
Correct.
Whatever that means. But so the other the slingshot method has only been seen to take something from the past and bring it to the future. We've never seen it done in this method before.
Doing the opposite direction. Okay.
So now that they've used the slingshot method to go back in time, see, then Girardi talks about it too. Like Girardi's like, no, if we change the past, will Elnor come back? We don't know, because either we exist outside of time or we now are part of a fixed timeline. Will we even remember that it's the thing. So like if you go back in time to before the thing was changed, shouldn't theoretically the timeline be intact before that moment?
It should be.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and I'm fully willing to admit, and I don't want tweets about this. God damn it, I don't want to get into this on Twitter. Time travel in Star Trek has never been consistent.
Okay.
There's never been a moment where that has been consistent. Story rules trump time travel rules always.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is the story they're going for, the idea that because the future was changed, so was the past, cool. But then why does the punk rocker still remember being choked out by Spock?
Okay, hold on.
Right?
I'm trying to remember.
Because why would Spock would not be part of the Confederacy.
Correct.
So
all right. Where's this thing from? It's literally on the tip of my memory, and I'm trying to remember where it came from.
Maybe I know. Describe it for me.
Like these memory imprints that you have, even though they didn't actually happen.
The Adam Project?
Say again?
The Adam Project?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, you should watch that. It's good.
I did. I loved it.
Cool.
I loved it. Yeah, great. Fantastic. Yeah. I can't remember what it is, but it's like when that happens, there's an imprint that's subconsciously left on you. Almost like if you believe in reincarnation, and then you feel that deja vu situation happen, it's like, oh, that was my past life type of thing. So He feels his neck almost as if it's a reincarnation. He doesn't know why he's feeling his neck, but he just feels it for some reason. And it's just a little subconscious tweak that happens in his brain.
I have been in this debate for 2 weeks, and I've never heard that explanation. And I applaud you, sir. I like that a lot. The idea that it's a cool idea that like he doesn't have a memory of it, but there is an imprint of a memory of a past life that he no longer has. That's kind of neat. I've been to that. Awesome. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it at all. But that's cool. I like it.
We need the showrunners. We need somebody to reach out to.
Well, here they are. Here they are. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't think it matters ultimately. I'm willing, like I'm with the showrunners. Like, if they say this is what it is for our story, sure.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is for their story. Story rules, time travel rules, always.
And at least with this show, they haven't failed us.
Yeah, and I don't think I think that there's been. I think the fact that they were in the debate shows that they did think about this. Like they didn't forget about Time Zero. They knew what they were doing. They were like, okay, well, if they go back in time and meet Guinan, would they remember? And this is what they settled on based on the rules that their story dictated. And there was really no way else around that.
Correct. And it works.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's not something that breaks the show for me at all.
I did have a question with Guinan. Before we find out about who the Watcher truly is, did you think she was a Watcher?
No, because she's an Elorian. Elorians are listeners. It was a very important thing that they said watcher. Elorians aren't watchers. They listen.
Can't talk about it yet. We're into episode 5. All right.
Yeah, we'll get there. I never once believed that when they talked about watchers, it would be Guinan.
Okay.
Because in Star Trek Generations, Soren says, they call us a race of listeners, and I want to listen to you now. It's like, so that's, and I don't think, again, like I do think that in the writer's room, they went through all these things, like, could Guinan be a watcher? No, because and they use watcher specifically because they wanted us to think that it could be Guinan when we meet Guinan, but the word watcher has never been associated with an Elorian, right? So like I never thought so, personally.
Gotcha. Okay. Because we will get to it, but I was trying to figure out the actor. I had to look it up. Jeffrey Wright. That would have been hilarious. If
Jeffrey Wright?
Yes, if they made him the Watcher, because he's the Watcher in Marvels.
Oh God. You're right.
That would have been perfect. If you just heard his voice, I would have busted out laughing. I would have been like, "You guys are great."
Do you think he's in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
I think so. I definitely think so. I mean, he's too good not to.
I don't know if I want that. We'll see. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
Did you see that, by the way, the Strange New Worlds teasers that have been coming up on Twitter?
It popped up on my feed. I haven't seen it yet.
God, you should. There's all the sort of character teasers. I'm so hyped for that show.
That's good stuff.
The time sickness bit for Guinan, that was cool.
Yes, that was.
It's a nice little kind of extension of what we saw in yesterday's Enterprise when she like could feel that there was something wrong with the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool. Picard has a line that I love. You told me that many tomorrows ago.
Yes, that's so cool.
So good.
So cool.
There was someone who was complaining online that I saw complaining about like the dialogue of this show, and I was just like, this show has some of the best lines. Like this one, change always comes later than we think it should.
Yes. And see, what's cool about it is Sir Patrick Stewart is first a theatrical actor, and then he's a cinematic actor. So he has this way of providing dialogue so eloquently that it fits. And I love it. Like once he said that, I was like, this dude he's so cool.
Yeah,
he's
and
so
like
cool.
I get that Guinan is talking about like, yeah, Guinan is like, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of the prejudice of the century. They are literally trying to destroy their planet.
Yeah.
And I can't sit here and watch it anymore. I just can't. And Picard is trying to plead with her, like, don't give up, because change is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it will come. It's just not here yet. You just got to give them the time.
And that it's that beacon of hope that this show is, and that Picard is longing for Guinan to see, and it's just around the corner for her.
Yeah, and I also really like how her heartbreak towards seeing humanity do what they're doing.
Physical tears.
Yeah, and it parallels what she will experience when the Borg destroy her world.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened to this Guinan yet. The Borg haven't destroyed the Eloria, but it's coming. And so, like, you see how much she cares about Earth, and she doesn't want. And she's like, I'm going back to Eloria. I'm going back home. But like, she's going to feel this pain again, and that's really upsetting.
It is. And then it also is like when Picard goes and says that you are my oldest friend.
Yeah.
I got straight goosebumps. I was like, oh my God.
It's quite literally, that's true.
Yeah. And it made me really realize that, because once I saw her tears, I instantly, like you said, kind of gravitated back to her losing her entire race, her entire people. And it's like, if she doesn't stay, she no longer becomes Picard's longest friend.
Well, I do wonder how much of her leaving now, like if he's like just give it a couple more days, because I don't think she was ever going to stay on Earth. I do think that she leaves Earth periodically. I don't even know if she's been on Earth since the last time we saw her. Like I don't know how much of what Picard is actually doing is changing the timeline. He wants his friend to stay, right? He wants a friend to stay, and I don't think Guinan staying on Earth a day longer is going to change the timeline in any significant way.
So then, do you think it's a selfish manner of why Picard's doing it, or do you think he truly believes that she has something to do with helping the timeline correct itself?
I think it's a bit of both. I think he believes that Guinan is important to what's happening right now.
Okay.
But I also think that he's being selfish in the fact that he wants a connection to his past on this Earth. He wants someone to go to if something doesn't go right. He wants Guinan.
Gotcha.
And I think he's also kind of aware that, like I said, like if Guinan leaves tomorrow, yesterday, whenever, it doesn't change the timeline. She's not an important figure in Earth's history. She'll never be, because that's their species aren't meant to be.
She's supposed to be, like you said, a listener.
Yeah. So I think he's just kind of looking at it like, there's nothing to lose if you stay.
Okay.
And I would really like it if you stayed. But I also think he's worried that if she doesn't stay, she will lose faith in humanity and he'll never meet her anyway.
Gotcha.
I think there's that too.
I definitely want to see more of her. So,
the place that she gives aid to is the 21st Street mission. I don't know if you caught that. That is where what's her name? Kirk's girlfriend from the 1940s. Oh, 1940s. Edith Keeler, I think is her name. And so in City on the Edge of Forever.
Okay.
The famous Star Trek original series episode. It's a brilliant episode. Did you ever read the comic?
I didn't know there was a comic for that.
Okay.
There's a comic for that story?
So what happened was that story was heavily edited by Roddenberry, and there was an original story. I have it. Hold on. Wait, this is important. Where is it? It's somewhere. I have no idea where it is. That's kind of worrisome. I'm kind of concerned that I've lost this book now. Where the hell is... Whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Okay, so so originally, I forgot who the writer is. I think it's Warren Ellis. But he originally wrote a much darker version of the story.
Really?
Yeah. It was about the drug trade in the Federation and drug addict. But Roddenberry didn't want that. He didn't want like drugs to be a part of the Federation. So honestly, fair. So they reworked it, and then budgetary restrictions changed a lot of it. So like there's a comic that envisions the story as it would have been with no budget restrictions and no Roddenberry visions.
Okay.
It's very good.
It is good. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll have to see if I can find that.
I highly recommend it. Anyway, so the girl that Kirk meets when he goes back in time, who runs the homeless shelter, worked at the 21st Street mission, and that's what Guinan gives supplies to.
So cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Like, stuff like that. If you're a Star Trek fan, you can't help but smile. Once, of course, you recognize these things. Of course, they go above my head. But for you, thank God you're here that you can bring them to light for me.
That one was picked up by Trek Culture. I do not want to take credit for that. I watched a video channel called Trek Culture, and they did these things, and I was like, cool. I honestly didn't pick that out, but that makes me happier now that I know it, because again, it goes back to something I didn't feel with the first season, something I don't feel with Discovery. The little details are the things that really excite you as a Star Trek fan,
for sure.
Because they're the ones that tell you that the people making this thing care as much as you do. And now I'm not saying I'm like one of those radical Star Trek fans who's like, oh, SJWs are ruining my Star Trek. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a simple man. I want bubble shields and beam phasers. That's what I want.
That will make you happy.
That makes me happy. And like that, we get that, we see that stuff, and we get those little details. Sanctuary cities, the 21st Street Mission, things that like are Star Trek lore, Star Trek history that just make you feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else I got before we move on to the next episode. Agnes and the Queen. I just cannot get over how good they are together.
They are. They are, and I think that whoever decided to go and, I guess, cast Agnes, I don't know the actual actor's name, but whoever
Alison Pill.
Alison Pill, she nails it. She, like, the first season, I didn't really care for her too much.
And she killed Bruce Maddox.
Yeah. And this second season, she's had so much redeeming qualities that you can't help but just be happy for a win for her when she does get one.
Yeah. You got this thing where she's kind of playing with the Queen in a bit where, they're so we tried to talk about Rafi and Seven, or even Rios. Rios is in an ice internment center. Good stuff. I really like the bit with him where he's talking to the guys like, I'm the captain of a starship called the USS Stargazer of the 25th century, and I'm working with and I got a cybernetic person that's pretty sure wants to wipe out all life on this planet, and I think her cohort who's in a cybernetic body, and I'm not quite sure if it's got blood in it or oil in it. Like he's confused about Picard's role in life now. Yeah. Good stuff. I really like Rios. I hope that we're going to start seeing more from him, because I do feel like these 2 episodes did kind of sideline him. Rafi and Seven have a good car chase.
Yes.
Rafi being completely annoyed at the LAPD is very funny.
Her just like yelling at a police officer. I'm like, you can't do that.
Well, like, she can.
She can. I was like, do you want to get arrested? But she held her own.
Like, Seven's like, thank you for your service. Walks her away. And she's like, I hate this place. I think when the car chase sequence is fun, and Girardi connects the Queen to the transporter service, yes, so that they can get him out.
Correct.
And she does it because she's like, you'll get access to me. We'll talk. You won't be alone. We'll talk if you do this for me. And then she lies to the Queen.
She does. Which I have questions about, but we won't get to it now.
Yeah, I figured that would come back to bite her, which it does. Yes. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode 4, and it ends with Orla Brady without her Romulan ears.
Yes, and
fascinating.
So interesting. But before we get to that, there was a guy in the police station that when they sat back down and he was like, hey, like I overheard you guys. If you want to know where your friend is, he's probably with the border patrol type of people. And
nice.
I wanted to know if there's any significance to that actor, or if it's just a random guy that just kind of filled in. Because I feel like so far we've gotten people who are previously involved in Star Trek or have some connection to Star Trek, and it's like, I wonder if this guy has any type of connection to Star Trek.
Let me find out, because I'm curious as well. I probably not, but it would be kind of cool.
There you go, sir. You get some street cred.
All right, let's see who this guy is. By the way, Michelle Hurd, who plays Rafi, her IMDb picture is Smokin.
All right, now you called me into this. Now I got to look myself.
Throw that out there. Wait, who the hell is? I think I just got a spoiler for something. Oh well. Yeah, because there's someone credited who's not supposed to. I didn't notice anyway. He's not He doesn't. Oh, there he is. Yeah, this is him. Okay, let's see. He's been in a few things, so he's an actor.
He is, okay.
Well, I'm not sure he's been in anything Star Trek. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, he does a bunch of like one episodes of things. I don't think he's anybody. No offense to this actor. Like, I'm just saying, I don't think he's anybody from Star Trek. Like he's not a callback.
Gotcha. And yes, she does have a very wonderful picture. I will say that.
I'll say. Okay. So the two things at the end were very interesting of this episode. One is Orla Brady being revealed as the Watcher.
It's not necessarily the same one we know from season 1 or the beginning of the season 2.
It's not Laris. And the other thing is a blonde woman reading a Dixon Hill novel that Q is trying to manipulate.
Yes.
By the way, another thing from Trek culture that I think might be fun for you is the observation place that she's walking out of is a Star Trek the original series callback.
Really?
Yeah, it's a NASA. It's about. It makes a thing. Oh, what's the thing called? Sorry, I haven't recently watched Star Trek the original series. Is the thing? You know what? I will accept tweets about this one. I am curious to be reminded about this thing's name. Anyway,
it's a thing from TOS.
It's a thing from TOS, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that girl was for a week, by the way, because I watched these when they come out. For a week, by the way, we all kind of queued up to the fact that her credit said Renee Picard, and we were like, "Excuse me, what?" We had to wait a week to figure that out. So, on that note, why don't we go to episode 5?
Let's do it.
So, episode 5, Fly Me to the Moon.
Great. And it was directed by
Jonathan
none
Frakes.
Other than, yes, sir,
the great Jonathan Frakes, and cameo by Leah Thompson.
Yes, I saw that. I did see that when she was on the board. I was like, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, for about a week, there was a lot of speculation about what Orla Brady's role would be, and it was confirmed pretty quickly that she is of the same, not race, because Gary Seven's a human.
Correct.
But she is from the same place that Gary Seven was from.
Yes. She is a supervisor.
Which is a callback to a TOS episode. Real quickly, I've always wanted Star Trek to revisit concepts from the original series that they just kind of abandoned over the years. And I'm really happy we're doing this now. Yeah. I flipped when the Guardian of Forever showed up in Discovery Season 3. I was like, yes!
This is Star Wars! I keep saying Star Wars.
This is Star Trek! This is not Star Wars!
This is Star Trek!
Because I love those silly concepts that we just never go back to.
Yeah, for sure.
And so Gary Seven was an interesting one because it comes from an episode called Assignment Earth, which is important because the episode was supposed to be a backdoor pilot to a show called Assignment Earth, which is basically a ripoff of Doctor Who. It's like Gene Roddenberry's American Doctor Who. And they retooled it as an episode of Star Trek, the original series. Blah blah blah. Anybody who's watching this knows the history of that episode. But it's really cool that we now get another one of that person. Yeah. We now get another one of this person, played by Orla Brady, for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why.
And that's what is cool is this just allows for more mystery, and you can tell that the writers have put a lot of thought into it, and it's like they don't do anything by accident.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see more of Orla Brady because I was sad that we wouldn't get more of her. Mm-hmm. I was sad we didn't get more of her in season 1.
Correct.
And I'm happy that she's back. I am a little bummed it's not. I can't say that. It might not be. It might be Laura still.
You think so?
Well, her pad is Romulan.
Okay.
Which is interesting because she's not Romulan.
No, she's not.
So we think.
I remember I told you. I think she's a hybrid.
You think Laris is a human Romulan hybrid?
Yes.
Well, that doesn't explain Talon. Is her name? I think.
Yeah, Talon's her name. Yeah.
Talon.
This new one.
Yeah, her pad is Romulan. It's got Romulan letters on it. It's the Romulan triangle. It is a Romulan pad. Why would this human have a Romulan?
Because she's a supervisor technically, so she's been.
Did she steal it from a Romulan?
Or maybe she was trained by a Romulan to be a supervisor.
I think there's something more at foot.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm willing to speculate that maybe
Do
they
it.
they
Do
took
it.
Laris from the future and wiped her memory and sent her back through through time. That's not whatever these supervisors thing is, because they're humans from that moment in time. At least Gary Seven was.
I like that idea though, because they did a little callback to Picard looking at her and she was laughing, drinking the wine, and I can't remember the exact dialogue, but
Ugh,
it was
Momulan.
it was along the lines of like saying like he didn't want this or he didn't want her in some form of fashion, and that's why he never made the move because it
Yeah,
wasn't the right time for him. And I think that this is
it
maybe
will be.
Q's way of proving to Picard like, hey, there is no right time. Like time.
I don't think this is Q.
You don't think so?
No. Well, we know that the species is not related to Q. Whatever species uses these humans. Look, okay, real quickly, the Gary Seven thing is confusing as hell because they are humans that are taken some 6,000 years in the past, bred to be the most perfect human beings ever, and then sent back to Earth to observe things, to watch things. That doesn't sound like Q. And to kind of like retcon that to be Q would be strange.
Okay.
And she also doesn't recognize what Q is.
That's true. Yeah, or does she?
I don't think it's Q.
Okay, all right.
I know where you're going. I'm sure other people have had this thought too. I don't think it's Q.
Okay.
But she has been tasked with watching over Picard's ancestor, Renee Picard.
Yes. Which was wonderful.
Yeah. Really cool to actually see another Picard. And like we heard about her in the speech at the beginning of the season. We know that she's important. She was instrumental in early exploration of our solar system. I didn't quite think it would be this early.
I didn't think she was going to be this important.
I don't know if she is.
They seem like they're making it out to be like the world that we know as far as Star Trek doesn't exist without her.
Well, so they make a point to kind of be like, so there's a couple of things here. So skipping towards the end of the episode when they're making the plan about what they're going to do. So their only cue that she's, I didn't mean to do that. Their only clue that she's important is that Q is interested in her for some reason.
Yes.
So they know that Q is grooming her for something. So Q is clearly trying to get her off of the Europa mission. Why? Even Rios is like, so your ancestor is the reason? Like that seems weird, doesn't it? And even Picard is like, well, I don't know why. Because the records of this time period are wildly incomplete. We don't know why she's the only thing we know about Renee Picard is that she did this mission and she found a sentient life form. That's it. So I'm curious. I am willing to bet there's more to this. And I am almost willing to say that maybe she's the reason why the Confederacy rises. And they're actually doing a bad thing.
It could work.
Yeah, right? Because there's a lot of right now we're at the halfway point of the story. We're at the point where we're thinking that everything that we got a plan, we know what's everything going on. The plan still has to go awry. And I think potentially the plan goes awry because they realize that their actions right now are causing the Confederacy timeline.
That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Do you remember Q was talking to her, trying to go and imprint something into her mind, and he tried to snap his finger to make it reality. And he's like, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe, like you said on episode 1, that the reason this is all happening is because something's happening to Q. Whether he's dying, whether his species are dying, something's happening to him. And he's trying to correct that through this game with
time. Time is against him for the first time in his life.
Yes.
Because that's what he says to Sung.
This is some really good writing.
It's juicy.
It is. It's like it's good. And there's so many different plots that are all subplots that seem like they form together to make one.
And what we're getting is we're getting the natural structure of a story of this type. We're getting every episode we get a little bit of an answer. Orla Brady's here. What's Orla Brady? Oh, she's a supervisor. This is what she's doing. Renee Picard is important. Okay, why is Renee Picard important? What's Adam Sung going to do? That's the next episode, and we'll figure out that. And so, like, we're getting it in a way that doesn't feel like. I really hate to throw Discovery under a bus again and again. Stop kicking it; it's already dead. But like the idea. Right, but like Discovery didn't do this. Discovery spent 4 episodes spinning its wheels doing nothing. We learned nothing new. But every episode in Picard, we learned something new. We progressed the story further to fit its 10 episodes. And I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah, they're packing it full. They know their limit of 10 episodes, and it's like we don't have the luxury of putting in a filler in here. This thing has to be jam-packed full of story. Each and every episode has to explain the overall arcing plot, and
every episode needs to give the audience something new. There needs to be some new information that the audience gets,
and we are getting it, which I think you and I are both loving every episode, and each and every episode seems to get better and better.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit more about let's get off cue because I want to talk about Adam Sung.
Okay.
So Adam Sung, much like his descendant Eric Sung from Star Trek Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Did you ever watch Enterprise?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's the 3 episodes. There's the 3 episode eugenics episodes with Brent Spiner.
Yes, I remember this.
He was revealed to be a geneticist, and then was like, oh, maybe I'll go into cybernetics. And so
great voice, brother. Great voice.
Thank you. And so we're seeing. It's a fun bit of continuity that in the past, Adam Sung, which is the furthest Sung that we've ever seen in the timeline, is a geneticist still. Mm-hmm. And it really sucks to be a geneticist post the eugenics wars.
Yes, big time.
Big time. All of genetic experimentation is illegal, and he's like, but like we can cure people. I think there's been a lot of discussion about like, could this series, because to be fair, it is a little fluid where the eugenics wars fall within the timeline. Mm-hmm. There's some places that have said it was set during World War III in the 2050s. The original series established it in the 90s. So there's a lot of discussion. I think this kind of firmly sets it back in the 90s because they're so against the idea. Like Leah Thompson talks about the idea of like, what you're doing goes against the blah 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 convention. Like there's been a treaty that's been signed, mm-hmm. and I think that's kind of confirmation. At least I took it as the eugenics wars have happened. Adam Sung is a geneticist trying to cure his daughter, but he can't because of the laws set by the eugenics wars.
Correct. I agree. I definitely agree. And
that's what I think anyway.
It breaks your heart to see that. Like he literally says that my daughter can't go out into the sunlight because she can't breathe the air because if she does, she will die. And they're like, nope, sorry, you're revoked. Your accolades are all taken away from you pretty much, and your funding is gone.
Yeah, because he's been doing illegal experimentations anyway without them, and so like he's being punished. So the Sung family genome is very resilient.
Yes.
Because every male looks like Brent Spiner.
It's dead on each and every single time.
I find that fun that you can always find a way to bring back Ben Spiner. He just plays a different Sung.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too crazy about Alton and Inigo from the first season of Picard. I thought it was a little weird that they were like, hey, surprise, Noonien had another son. But I like the idea of going back further than Eric, seeing seeing Adam Sung. Yeah. But the other thing is Soji, the actress who plays Soji, mm-hmm. plays a Sung as well.
Yes.
She plays Corey Sung. which is a nice callback to the fact that Brent Spiner has always done the males. So now we get an actress who will always play the women.
Yes, the same one over and over again.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. I like her. I'm glad that they brought her back into the show. And I like the dynamic that Adam and Corey have. This kind of this father who wants to protect her at all costs and can't like he can't cure her because no one will fund genetic research.
Correct.
So there's another thing that I want to talk about a bit about Adam Sung. I know that he has the line where he says to Q, like, if you're messing with me, I'll kill you. I don't understand yet, and I'm very curious to know how this happened. How does he have a holographic statue in front of Starfleet in the Confederacy timeline that says a safe galaxy is a human galaxy? How did that happen?
Again, this goes back to, I think, the theory of because what's going on right now ultimately changes reality in the past.
Well, no. So sorry, real quick. Let me clarify. So we know in the Confederacy timeline, they do this like sweep over of San Francisco, the Confederacy headquarters. There is a holographic statue of Adam Sung.
Okay.
That's our first look at this character that we have now just met. Somehow he is very important to turning the timeline into the Confederacy. And I'm very curious to see how that happened.
Do you think he was to answer for that?
Well, supposedly he's the guy that coined a safe galaxy as a human galaxy, which we hear like General Picard say in that hologram in the second episode.
Yeah.
So he's xenophobic in some way. Somehow. Oh, you know what? Maybe. Okay, let me roll something through you. Let me roll something through your ear holes.
All right.
Maybe he experiments on himself and genetically, because we know that genetic experimentation, with the exception of Julian from DS9, has more times than not created a tyrannical dictator.
Okay.
Maybe he experiments with himself to turn himself into a tyrannical dictator.
He did say that he tested out the injection on himself to make sure it was fine before he gave it to her. And she's like, I trust you.
Yeah. So perhaps
those effects don't kick in because of his particular DNA makeup.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, they wouldn't have put a statue with him. He wouldn't have a statue in the 24th century if he wasn't important.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that happened. And I really like that Brent Spiner's back. I think he is always fun as a Sung. He always plays them differently, and he's always good. But he's kind of sympathetic at this moment. He just wants to cure his daughter. To which Q is like, I've got the thing. I'll help you.
And it's always, it just seemed, for me, it was like instant once that happened, I was like, it's too good to be true. It's Q. It's great. He doesn't know Q, but it's too good to be true. And Q plays it like a fiddle. He pretty much is like, dude, you've driven however many hours to get here. You're not going to walk away from me. You're going to sit down and you're going to hear me out.
Can I play you something?
Yeah.
Okay. So the phone number on the business card, I don't know if you know this, but you can call it.
I did not know this.
So here, let me see if I can play it through my speakers. Let me see if you can hear it.
Hello. You have reached the Q Continuum. We are unable to get to the phone right now because we are busy living in a plane of existence your feeble mortal mind cannot possibly comprehend. Furthermore, it's pointless to leave a message because we, of course, already knew that you would call, and we simply do not care. Have a nice day.
Please send me that number. That is so cool.
Yeah, isn't that great? I'll text it to you later. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Q, so John Delancey's having a ball in this episode. He gets to do his little like Sigmund Freud therapist bit, and then he does his and then he's talking to the way he's talking to Adam. He's like, you know, like yeah, time is not on my side at this time, at this moment. But if you want to just take this out and blah blah blah. I really like his role in that, and I think that Adam seems to be a cool character that I can't wait to see more of.
I agree. What do you think his ultimate role is in this series? Because I know right now Q's kind of hinted at like, hey, I need you to do a job in order to get the true actual antidote for your daughter. So I need you to do something for me, and it revolves around Renee Picard.
I have no idea. Bless me. So sorry.
Bless you,
I have no idea. I think it's potentially like he's very important. Mm-hmm. Somehow he is very important. He has a statue in the 25th century. He has to be important somehow. And somehow he's super xenophobic to the point that he turns the entire planet xenophobic.
But his daughter is not human at this moment.
No, his daughter's human.
She goes and says, maybe it was just me looking into it too much, but she goes and says, was my mother a good swimmer? And he hesitates heavily.
Oh, you're right. That's a good call. I didn't notice that.
There you go.
I took it as she died horribly or whatever.
Okay. I always thought it like maybe he's already created a non-human entity, but it's not perfected that he can go and bring it out to the world and showcase it off as like, hey, this is humanity at its perfect form.
I don't know. That'd be interesting. I'm curious to know how, because we've got Renee Picard, who at this moment at this moment in time we are looking at. She is, if her mission is successful, the Federation is back. We've saved the timeline. Everything's perfect. If she goes to Europa, we're all good. We're all good.
Yeah.
And then we have Sung, who we've just been introduced as, who we've known is somehow important to turning the Confederacy into a totalitarian xenophobic nightmare. Mm-hmm. And we don't quite know how these two are meant to interact, even if either of those are true. I don't know, man. It's very interesting because if you look at the holographic net that he has over Corey, mm-hmm. That's the same holographic net that's over the Earth in the 25th century.
Yes, I remember that.
So curiouser and curiouser.
I like I said, I have to tip my hat off to these writers for the ingenious ability to do what they do and create a masterpiece. I think
they are certainly weaving a tapestry that I am heavily invested in.
Yeah, you and me both.
There's a line that I want to bring up. So it's revealed that Renee has anxiety and has depression. Mm-hmm. I do too. I don't mean to get real with you, Cookie.
It's all good.
But I do too. It was so important to me that there is a character in the show who went to space with anxiety and depression, saved humanity as we're at right now. And Picard has a line that has become one of my favorite lines in all of Star Trek. He says, "Depression in a human can be debilitating. She's maybe lucky to survive." Mm-hmm. I feel so seen. It was just such a beautiful moment for me.
And I think it's a perfect timing for what's going on in our reality, with mental health being such an importance and such put into the forefront of reality right now for us. Mm-hmm. Because I know in the past it was something that was, well, you can't see it. So do you really have depression? Are you really going through anything? But now it's become something that's very severe and very important to people.
We're looking at it now. We're looking at it now as a disease.
Yes.
Which it is.
Yeah.
It's just a disease of the mind. And to have this kind of moment of compassion happen. Like it's the end where he says she's maybe lucky to survive. Like every day would for Renee would be a struggle. Doing this mission, succeeding in this mission would be a struggle, but she did it. She overcame that. She persevered through it because, again, depression is a disease. It is something that has killed many people. It's killed Robin Williams, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So speaking of that, that you said that, so you opened up a little bit, so I'll open up a little bit as well.
Go ahead.
My dad actually passed away a few years now from the same disease that Robin Williams had, and it's Lewy body dementia. So you end up having hallucinations, and you really go down the steep rabbit hole of losing your mind, and you kind of forget a lot of things, and it can take years to happen. It can happen in the blink of an eye. For my dad, he had it for years. We didn't know, and then when we took him to the hospital, 2 weeks, he passed away. Yeah. So with Robin Williams, one of the things that I know, especially based off my dad, is that he did not want to go through that situation of having to realize, hey, I'm not going to remember things. I'm going to start seeing people, and that depression really kicked in for him. And this is me just basing off of what I saw with my dad. And it's like, it is crazy to think that these writers, what they're doing is, it goes back to hope. Picard is the hope for Star Trek. And I think that this girl, Renee Picard, became like a beacon of hope for people who are going through depression and feel like they can't amount to something. But now they have somebody, if they are a Star Trek fan or watching Star Trek, that yes, what I'm going through right now will pass, but I don't know if it will pass. But you have to persevere on to see what's going to happen in the future. And who knows, you'll have something bright at the end of the tunnel.
I want to go back to, you said that Picard is like hope.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's true. I think Picard is compassion.
No, not Picard as a series.
No, I know, but I mean to say both as a character in a series. I think what we've seen, maybe not in the first season, but in this season, is compassion. You know, he has such a compassionate look at people. He always has. You go back to the Next Generation. He's always his compassion is what always made him important. It made him unique.
Mm-hmm.
And I think looking at, like, you know, number one, his dog, the Lars and Jaban in the first season, he took him in because he was compassionate to the plight of the Romulan people, because he felt like he failed them.
But yeah, he cared.
He cared. And so, like, having kind of this moment of, like, you know, Orla Brady talks about, like, you know, she is looking like she's not going to do the mission anymore because she's going through these things, and he doesn't. He's like, oh, he's not. He had a very real moment of, like, what she needs is someone to talk to, and unfortunately, her therapist is like, yeah, you should be scared.
It's the worst person to talk to.
You should be scared. And his anger, his like lash up is like, that's no therapist, that's Q, is so good.
It was good.
So good. Okay. Let's see what else I got here. I took the thing where he says records of this time are wildly inaccurate to be because of World War III, because a 10-year-long nuclear war would have wiped out tons of records from before that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just their way of being like, yeah, we might come back again. We don't want to set timelines again.
For sure. But I also think that it could be, with history, there's always, of course, the normal phrase is there's always two sides to a story, but there's actually like the three sides to a story. There's their side, your side, and then the person that's non-biased looking over, watching everything kind of take place.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the same situation where the histories are written too separately, that there's never been an entity to watch it and see it unfold in front of their eyes, being unbiased.
Maybe. But no matter what would happen, a 10-year-long nuclear war that wiped out most of the major cities in all of the world, and the whole world, would have
an impact.
Would have a major impact. I think what's interesting is people think that, like, the eugenics wars would probably. I don't think the eugenics wars would have had a major impact on the world's economy. I think that because the eugenics wars mostly I hope I'm right, and I think the eugenics wars mostly happen in like Asia and Europe.
Okay.
We wouldn't see major ramifications of this war in 2024. But something like World War III, which was all over the place, and nuclear, and you go back to the First Contact when they like most of the major cities were destroyed, like that would have a major impact on life, and would completely change the landscape of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the eugenics wars are bad. I don't think they were as bad as World War III.
Correct.
Anyway, that's enough Star Trek history. So Agnes. No, before I go back to Agnes and the Queen, because so good. When they break Rios out of the bus.
Yes.
Rafi and Seven. Seven is really trying to be compassionate towards Rafi. And I think she's succeeding. I think she's like, you need to take a breath. Like, I'm here for you. You got my back. I got your back. I'm here for you. And when she thinks she sees Elnor come out of that bus, because her grief is manifesting in like hallucinations and whatever, like it's kind of heartbreaking to see her go through this.
It definitely is. I like the fact that Seven did have a form of compassion, and it was just like a brief solace for Rafi when she held her hand, like really embracing and saying, like, I really have your back. Like, I'm not just saying this.
Yeah.
I actually have your back. And she grabbed her hand. I was like, that's a very beautiful moment. It's very,
they love
very
each other.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell.
Yeah. If this season doesn't end with them kissing, I'm going to be very upset.
You and me both.
Because, like, I just love, dude. I love.
One, they're both very attractive people, and two, they play the love card very well.
Can I also bring up the fact that, like, so apparently I haven't seen this. I really try not to bring like Twitter arguments to my shows. I really try not to, but it's really hard because I'm very much on Twitter. But like, there's apparently been a lot of ageism in the Star Trek fandom, and I just want to put it here that I think it is very cool that we have a show that has two women in their 50s, maybe I think that's how old they are, in a romantic relationship, and then 3 leads in their 80s and up.
Yes,
and they're not saying that, like, they're not trying to hide how old they are. They're embracing it. They're saying, like, no, of course, this is how old they are, but they also live in a utopian society where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, correct.
And I think that is what's also really cool is if you go to the Strange New Worlds trailers, Pike is gray.
Really?
They didn't dye his hair black.
That's cool.
Again, embracing that age. Cool. And I think that's really neat that, like, it's not just, age is just a number. It's not quite that, but it's cool to see that we are living in a place where these actors can still be these kind of heroes at their age. Much like how the original series, towards the, like, Undiscovered Country, they're very old in that movie.
So old.
But, like, they're still action heroes.
Yes. I agree.
Like, it's kind of silly watching Kirk try to fight someone at his age, but
oh, got a cramp.
Oh no. But, like, there's something to be said that there are so many shows on TV right now, and Star Trek being one of them, where actors are allowed to play the age that they are.
Yes.
And with no shame.
Correct. I think that is a testament to Gene Roddenberry and his vision of the society he wanted us to live in, and what is displayed in Star Trek.
Yeah. God, I love Star Trek.
I dig it.
I love Star Trek. Okay. Let's talk about Jurati and the Queen.
Yes. That was very interesting.
Jurati, Alison Pill is so good in this season. And when the Queen tricking the police to come in to come
to Chateau Picard.
God, when are they going to put a Star Trek character with a stammer? Because then I'll really feel seen. To come to Chateau Picard and to have this plan because she wants Jurati.
Yeah.
So good. And Jurati, like the thing where it's like, you know, the over the speaker, and she knows something wrong, immediately goes for that gun.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, you're gonna need that.
Big time. I like the fact that she still stayed asleep. Like she was literally deep in sleep. And then it was like the fourth time really calling her name, like, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
I like that.
It does kind of like, why hasn't she used that tentacle before? The queen?
Yeah.
Like she could have used it at any time. Why didn't she? Whatever. It's a good story. I'm not complaining.
Well, I think because it was in which tentacle? The tentacle to grab the cop or the
tentacle that grabbed the cop?
Okay. What purpose would it serve if she did it any other time besides just them two alone?
Oh, she wanted Jurati. Just at any time. What's going to stop her? A 90-year-old man?
Yeah, I guess you got a point.
Right?
You got to. Hey, we're just talking about his age and age not being a number. He could stop.
He's not doing action scenes. He's not getting into fights.
Last season he did. He ran up those stairs pretty quickly.
Oh, no, he didn't. I love him. No, he didn't. There's a scene in this he has a hard time bending his knees, you can tell.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of scenes where he has a hard time like getting up off the couch when he's in Orla Brady's apartment. By the way, fun callback of coming out of the safe. Good stuff. And there's a bit where Elnor is passed out and he's like doing a lunge. Like, you know, when you're in gym and you're doing a lunge.
Yes.
When he's supposed to be on his knees looking at Elnor, but he can't because he's so old.
He's old, yeah.
I just thought that was kind of funny.
81 years old right now.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah.
He, I think Picard was okay. So he's 81 years old. When was Picard born? Because I believe when was Picard born? 2305. So 2305 is 2401. So what's 2305 minus 2401? No, the other way.
2401 minus 2305?
Yeah.
Right.
Minus 2305. So he's 96.
96 in this. Okay. My grandfather is 2 years younger than that.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
My dad's turning 90 next year, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. For him.
Yeah.
I think it was, I believe, and I don't remember where I heard this, but I've kind of always ran with it, that the cast of The Next Generation were playing people who were 10 years older than them.
Okay.
Because the idea would be that our life expectancy was longer in the 24th century, so we would look younger when we were older.
Makes sense.
So it makes sense that an 81-year-old would play a 96-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. What are we talking about? Okay, so Agnes is coming in. She's got a shotgun. She's ready to kill the queen because the queen's going to kill. The queen's like, I'm walking out of here either in his body or yours.
Or your body.
And she shoots.
She does. Do you think she made the right call?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that was absolutely the right call because I think even without the assimilation, she would have been able to get them home. Like she would have been able to get them home. But I really like this angle of assimilation. I'm really into this idea of like, you know, it's belonging. It's not assimilation. It's not forceful. It's you want it. You want to be part of the collective. You want to not be alone. You want to have that belonging because in the collective, all voices are heard all the time, and we're all together all the time. And she's playing off the idea that Agnes is so lonely. The queen does not have the luxury of sending a horde of Borg drones to assimilate an entire planet. So she's taking the approach of enticing an assimilation, of being like, doesn't this sound good, Agnes? Don't you want this?
Which is like, no. Like it's literally the polar opposite of she's alone all the time. To once you get assimilated, you're never alone ever again.
But for someone who's incredibly lonely, for someone who deals with depression, it can feel enticing. Like I'll be honest, I kind of buy what she's selling.
Really?
If I didn't have decades worth of stories that tell me that the Borg are just mindless zombies, yeah, it's kind of nice.
But that's the thing. She does know that. She knows,
but she's never experienced it. She's never experienced it firsthand.
All right,
which is very different.
I'm hoping I'm right with this accusation here. You've heard about cocaine and what it can do to people.
Oh yeah.
Do you just go and say, well, you know what? Screw what I heard. I'm gonna go and take cocaine anyways.
But in fairness, she has already gotten a taste of being assimilated. Remember?
So she's got a little.
She's got a little. She's had a little.
That makes sense. Okay, yes, I can get what you're saying.
So it's the same metaphor essentially. She's had a little cocaine already, and she's kind of like, that felt good. Maybe I want some more.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
So
she played it well. I think she also did though. I think she made the right choice with saving the cop's life, because if the Queen got into the cop's body, he's dead.
Yeah, I do wonder what an assimilation looks like for the Queen, because it's not, because she's looking at this as making a new body. Mm-hmm. It's not like she's making a new drone.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm curious about this aspect, and we'll see it explored next episode. I'm sure, but I like how it was revealed. So we see that she killed the Queen. First off, it's already been established that Borg can't adapt to bullets, because that's also in First Contact. So bullets are your safest bet when it comes to the Borg. And we don't know that we just see her. She has the blood on her, and everyone's just kind of like, everyone's not quite sure how to make of that. It's like, oh, well, you saved the cop, like, okay, like you're okay. The cop's okay. We're good. And it's really funny when Picard and Talon comes up. It's just like, why are they carrying a dead cop? I'm sure he's not dead.
He's not.
I'm sure there's an explanation.
That was so good. Nice little humor.
That was good. There's some good humor in the show. Like there's some genuinely funny humor in the show.
I agree.
Like when they're like, so wait, so she looks like, yep. Are we going to talk about it? Nope.
Good conversation.
Yeah. So Orla Brady, so the Borg Queen, and so it's revealed at the party, because they have this plan to get into this party to protect Renee from Q, to get her into this quarantine place, because once she's in, we're good. Mm-hmm. We've saved the future.
But
so they think.
They have to do it without being seen. So they have to stay as almost like another Watcher. They're an extension of the Watchers.
So they send Agnes in, because Agnes can kind of push them through in there. Agnes has a fun bit where it's like, yeah, I took ancient coding when in college. I finally get to use some of it. Yeah, that's funny. That's pretty funny. Cool. But when she's captured, classic mid-2000s a fake capture story coming from Star Trek. The Dark Knight, the Avengers, Spectre, Skyfall.
Skyfall, yes.
Don't mess with the classic. It's revealed that when she shot the Borg, she felt the Borg she felt the Queen dying.
Yes.
Because she still had a bit of the Queen inside of her.
Correct.
And again, going back to the cocaine metaphor, and she had, and so in her kind of fear of feeling her pain, of her fear, she gets a little too close to the Queen, because as every Star Trek fan knows, if a Borg can touch your skin, you can be assimilated.
Yeah, it's game over.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool little. We've never seen I don't believe we've seen the Queen ever assimilate someone. I don't remember every episode of Voyager, so correct me if I'm wrong. But the nodules came out of her fingertips into Jurati's skin. Good stuff.
It was really good.
And it was honestly like I kind of knew it was coming, and I know it's in the trailer because I saw the trailer, but I forgot about it, and it was surprising when like the queen kind of like puts her arm next to her, and it's just like, so what are we doing?
Once I saw it, I was like, that's so cool. And then that's got to be like so weird for her to like now literally have the assimilation of two people in your mind. Yeah, you're Marc Spector, if you will.
In a way. Well, it's Marc Spector if Khonshu was in his mind.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily Marc Spector, Stephen Grant. It's Khonshu and Marc. Okay. To use a show that just dropped on Wednesday, guys. Check out Moon Knight. We're late enough. Nobody's watching anymore. Did you watch Moon Knight?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you watch Moon Knight?
I did watch it.
Did you like it?
I did watch it. No. I think that because I don't have as much knowledge on Moon Knight, that going into this, I was a little lost. Like, thank God I have a brief amount of knowledge on him. But when my wife sat there and she was watching, she's like, I have no idea what's going on. She's like, it looks cool, but I have no idea what's going on.
In fairness, are you supposed to know what's going on in the first episode?
At least some form of plot.
Yeah, there's a plot. Ethan Hawke wants to get the scarab thing.
Yeah, but I mean, is that really just? There's more to it than just that.
And the more will be revealed as the episode goes on.
Yeah, you're right.
Just saying, right, man. These serialized television shows, they play by different rules.
Yeah. They don't have 2 hours to make something happen.
It's true. But then it's fair though. I like the episode. We haven't done an episode on it yet.
Did you see with her when she was walking in and she's talking, like instantly once that happened, like of course we both don't know necessarily what Picard's idea is of his grand plan.
Yeah.
But when she walks in and she's talking, I'm like, girl, will you stop? And you see the different actors around her like kind of looking at her strange, like, why is she talking to herself? I'm like, this girl needs to shut up. She needs to shut up. And then it clicked. I'm like,
I knew from the get-go that the plan would be that she was going to get captured. And I like Picard's thing. He did this in the first episode, in the first season too, where he's like, I've got a plan to get into this party. And his plan in the first season was to put on an eye patch and a bad pirate accent.
Loved it.
So like, hopefully this plan goes a little bit better.
I
knew that I knew that the plan was for her to get captured.
Gotcha. Okay. Because
that'd be the only way that they can get in. Because Orla Brady says, I can only push one person through. Once we're in, like that's it. And to get everyone in, we got to get into the control room. Okay, well, how are you gonna do that? You're gonna get captured.
Very true.
I did like the little banter where it's like, why is she handcuffed? So what do you mean she was a trespasser? She's probably from Newport Beach. We're gonna get sued.
That was good. That was funny.
Cute. There's a line that Q says, again, if you're not from LA, you're probably not gonna find this as funny as I am. But there's a line that Q says where he's like, you drove an hour to meet a complete stranger. It's like, man, you're right. You're probably like 20 minutes away, but he drove that hour because that traffic is murder.
Yeah, I haven't. Thank God I haven't experienced that.
LA traffic, man. Ugh.
I don't ever want to.
Awful. Okay, let me see if I have any more notes, and I think I'm done. Yeah. Okay. Renee, hopefully she's a good person. Hopefully she gets on that Europa mission, and hopefully we get our Federation back.
I agree. You and me both.
And I'm very curious what's happening with Q. There's something wrong with him. Either he's scared of something, he's dying. There's something wrong with him, and I'm so curious to know what that is.
Same here.
All right. I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. All
right.
I'm excited for the next episode.
Well, we're all caught up on Star Trek Picard. Why don't you plug your stuff?
You can find me on social media, on Instagram at Just Little Podcast, on Twitter, which I am trying to get like Brandon so I can be more active on there. Just podcasting. I have a Patreon where if you sign up for as little as $3 a month, you gain access to the Patreon, but then $5 a month gets you access to all the exclusive shows that I'm doing. I just finished recording a brand new show that's going to be revolving around Harry Potter. So I have to go and edit that one and put that one up, hopefully in the near future. And then,
how are you doing on Patreon? Do you have any subscribers?
Yes, I have. How many do I have now? 8 subscribers right now.
Man, you nailed it, dude. Like we haven't got any.
It's honestly it's a slow burn because there's people that I've helped out and they ask me about hey man, I want to do podcasts. I'm like, okay, and I just give them all the answers, whatever they need. And then I was like, they said, hey, I'm gonna do Patreon. I'm like, oh, like I got inspired by you. I'm like, thanks man, I appreciate it. And they have 15, and I'm like, how do you guys have 15?
It's always how it is. Mike, downright nerdy. Mike, he showed up on the podcast scene. He was like, I was inspired by Fake Nerd Podcast. He's got 400 followers on whatever. And they're like, man, screw you.
Exactly, right? But yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of work because I do put a lot of effort into it. I have
you have a lot. I got to tell you, man. If I had money, I would subscribe because I want to listen to those shows. I think that's really cool that you put so many shows on that Patreon.
We'll talk after. I got you. We'll talk after.
Well, no, we won't. But yes. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, the Patreon. So if you sign up, you can do that. It's Just Little Podcast or patreon.com/Just Little Podcast. I'll be on this show hopefully more and more often because I love talking Star Trek and I love learning about the lore of Star Trek because I'm not as well versed as Mike and Brandon. So I'm kind of like the noob learning from you guys, and I enjoy it. I enjoy hanging out with you both. So nice. That's it for me.
Well, we love hanging out with you. Unfortunately, Michael Carls of the Downright Nerd Podcast could not be here. His work schedule is killing him right now, it seems like. Yeah. Man, I do not envy him.
Not at all, yeah. He's a busy guy.
Yeah. But that'll do it for Star Trek Picard. This is Fake Nerds Watch for Star Trek Picard Season 2. If you want to check out more Fake Nerds Watch, if you're more interested in the Star Trek stuff, we've got Lower Decks. We've got Discovery Season 4. We got Lower Decks Season 2. We got Picard Season 1, if you want to kind of go back through what we thought about Season 1 of Picard. We have other Fake Nerds Watches. We're probably going to do a weekly discussion of Moon Knight coming soon. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably be up this week, if we do it. And there's plenty of other shows on this channel. If you like this video and you subscribe to this channel, you can check out Basement Arcade Pause Menu, the award-winning Basement Arcade Pause Menu.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I will take all the credit, even though it is not my show. There's Conversation, which is not an audio show. Which is not a video show. That's an audio show. You can check that out. Season 2 is coming soon. I'm working on that right now. There is Basement Arcade Basement Arcade is a video game Let's Play show. Basement Arcade Pause Menu is a video game discussion show. Fake Nerd Book Club, Animation Station. Both of those shows are discussion-based shows based on animation and comic books. There are episodes up. We haven't put up episode on those in a long time, and hopefully we do soon because I miss those shows. That's it. And of course, there's the Mothership Show, Fake Nerd Podcast. Fake Nerd Podcast goes live every Sunday, except last Sunday, almost every Sunday.
But for good reason.
We had an Oscar party that day, and that was a lot of fun. And this week, we're actually going to be doing our own award show. The only criteria is we had to talk about it on our various shows. So on our channel, if we talked about it, it can get nominated. Voting would be closed by the time this episode is out, but a lot of people have voted, and we're going to discuss what the winners were. It's our first ever Fake Nerd Awards, and if it goes well, we're going to do it again next year.
It sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. And then next week, we're going to be talking about, because this might not go up by the time that airs, but if it goes up on Monday or Sunday night or whatever, then check out the Fake Nerd Award episode and stay tuned for our Sonic the Hedgehog 2 episode.
Woo! I still have to watch Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Oh, you should. It's good.
I need to. It's been on my list for so long.
I don't even like Sonic the Hedgehog, and I like that movie.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Hey, you should. The second one looks very good, and I'm very excited. A lot of cool stuff coming up on the Fake Nerd Podcast and on this channel, so check that out more. And of course, we're continuing with Star Trek Picard, hopefully on a weekly schedule again. 5 more episodes left, and then we start Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
There you go. I'm
excited for Strange New Worlds. So there's that. Of course, you can find all of the Fake Nerd Podcast stuff on Fake Nerd Podcast on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. We have a Patreon, as I mentioned before. It's kind of under construction right now, but you can still subscribe, if you want to. You're just not going to get anything right now. So if you want to subscribe $1, you can. We have a TeePublic. What?
I got you guys. I'll subscribe.
For $1?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Support our
There's TeePublic. We got a bunch of shirts on TeePublic. You can check those out. So you want to support us that way. I am also writing on a ton of stuff. I write a bunch of stuff for Screen Rant. There's a Screen Rant article coming up soon where I talk about all the Brent Spiner characters on Star Trek. I'm very excited for that one to drop. I also write for Atomic Geekdom, where I'm going through the Infinity Saga. I'm returning to the MCU's Infinity Saga, and I'm talking about some of the most defining moments of that episode. My stammer pisses me off sometimes. Number 42 is up now. So check that out. That you can find that. And then I am also the editor of Kaiju Ramen Media website, where I put up articles from different writers, such as anybody watching this, if they want to write for Kaiju Ramen, hit me up. BC McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Mike, did you already say what your handles were? No, you're not, Mike. Cookie.
Yeah, just little podcasts on Instagram, and on Twitter, just podcasting.
All right, we gone long. So live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.